So that's September 9th, next ARES meeting. VHF contest is later the same day, starts at 11 o'clock local time on September 9th. We'll push out more information on that later. In the endurance run support world, we just had a request recently to support the Noble Canyon 50K. From my records, it looks like we've not supported, HAMS have not supported the Noble Canyon 50K for about 5 years. We've been invited back, which is a wonderful training opportunity. So if you have not yet registered with me for the Noble Canyon 50K, if you're at all interested, if you'd like more information on what HAMS do to support endurance runs, please contact me. A Noble Canyon 50K. It's only a 50K, so it's all in daylight hours. You'd be home in the middle of the afternoon. And so a good training opportunities. If you're new, no experience required, you'll be paired up with somebody who knows all about it. September 23rd is the weekend of the Miramar Air Show. There's still some details to be worked out. To put it bluntly, if I may, Bruce, the issue is of some of the details to work out are whether or not we would be allowed to bring radios to the flight line to support the air show. The details about getting our people and the radio equipment into the air show is up in the air. And so Bruce and Dave are working on that to try to work out the details for that with the air show event staff. September 30th, we're planning another ARES activity day. Topics, more Winlink. We're going to have be working with other ARES groups throughout Southern California on a regional simulated emergency test. The league encourages an annual October-ish simulated emergency test. It's been something that the HAMS have done for a long time in October. And so we're going to be getting together with them, and that'll be an overlay on our Winlink training simulated emergency test. Also setting up for VE testing in the same day, and communicator gateway, and maybe some other presentations also. Moving on to advanced slide. There we go. There's October. So October, reminder, October 7th is the Lakeside Ham Fest. And October 14th, ARES meeting will be a presentation by Michelle, W5NYV, who many of you know, on the ARRL Technical Specialist Program. And Pacificon, a big ham fest in the San Francisco Bay Area, is coming up on the weekend of October 20 to 22. November, we've got an extra CARAM class. So the end of October, beginning of November, we'll have an extra class. If you're interested, contact Jay at 6 GM for more information on that. Nothing planned for Veterans Day weekend. ARES meeting on November 18th. Hospital exercise may be the week prior to Thanksgiving week. And then nothing ARES-wise planned for Thanksgiving Day weekend. December, we've got a tech class. There's the ABC 50-mile run. ABC 50, of course, stands for Anza, Borrego, Cuyamaca 50-mile run. And Marty AF5T is the ham coordinator for that. Contact Marty if you're interested. And December meeting, pushing on just to January 2024, ARES meeting. We'll be having a GMRS presentation by Bruce, AI6 Quebec. And Quartz Fest for people that love desert camping, boondocking, dry camping. It'll be out in Arizona, usual spot on BLM land, which is free, no fees to be paid. And more information on that and photos of what to expect if you're considering going out or on the event website, quartzfest.org. Other ARES training, we've got the weekly self-paced Winlink drill. So if you're caught the Winlink bug and would like to do more of it, contact Manir at gmail.com to get started with Winlink. Or if you are just getting started, the weekly Winlink drill self-paced conducted over the weekend. When you have time, you reply to an email, a Winlink message you receive from Manir, and keeps us in the software and up to date. Other training opportunities, of course, there are other organizations around San Diego, highlighting one here. The Southwestern React has events all the time. And the next one I see on their calendar is the November Silver Strand Half Marathon. And for more information, if you're interested, contact John, K1CT, for more information on that. And that's all I have. I will stop there and
President
go back.
Biden said this evening.
What was that? Is there a question?
There is someone who's new to ARES who joined a little bit late in the chat. If Jim Lawson, KM6 GCN.
Okay, stand by one.
I'm
Any
here.
questions for Rob? Any questions for Rob? Okay, that was a full plate. While we're dovetailing that, let me backfill on some of the items that Rob had discussed. Let's talk about Miramar first, because it's probably the most closely tied date-wise to anything that's coming up. The dialogues that we've been having with the folks running the air show this year have been fairly trying. And I'm being politically correct, so I know this is being recorded. It sounds like, reading in between the lines and the email exchanges and the dialogues that we've been having, it feels like and seems like last year there were a number of other groups, perhaps, and maybe other organizations that regularly attend the air show in some ancillary function that perhaps abused or ignored a lot of the show rules and requirements. So because of that, they've really tightened up, clamped down, added things, removed things from a rule perspective and what they expect volunteer groups to be able to go out and do. So far, and I'm note that I am not upset with the folks at Miramar. They're reacting to what they had to encounter last year. They're reacting to what other groups and teams did that were at the air show in some ancillary function last year. We were not there. So they've modified things, they've changed rules, they've added rules, and so far those rules are not conducive to our being able to attend in the manner that we've been able to go out and perform services for them before. Unless that changes in about the next week or so, it'll probably be a wave on our attendance and our participation and our volunteer efforts, and no harm, no foul. Like I said, they're responding to what they encountered last year with other groups and other folks, good, bad, or otherwise. And here's the brand new rule book. Here's the added rules. Here's the things that you can't do anymore. And again, so far, for a variety of reasons, it's not conducive to our being able to participate and support the show in the ways that we've been able to do so in the past. So we'll see what happens.
Well put, Bruce. Thank you.
In regard to the hospital drill and the statewide drill coming up in November, everything so far that's been done in planning and been done in development, it looks like it's going to be tabletop only. It does not look like this will be an actual event where we will be participating, although, as we have done in the past when they have done tabletop only exercises, we will discuss having our own ad hoc event, whether it's at home, whether it's just a training event, whether it's actually a near site deployment. We've done that before as well. Go a block away, or maybe we even get permission to be in the parking lot, do something that resembles a simulation of what we would be doing for a support effort in case there was an actual event. We'll have more on that probably within the next 30 days as well. So when we get to the September meeting, which will be in person at Sharp in the Spectrum Center, where many of you have been before, we will have updates on all of these events. So the September 9th meeting will not be Zoom. It will be in person only. Sharp Spectrum, roughly Balboa and Kearney Villa Road, right next door to SDGARES, for those that know the area. We've met there many times before. That will be the relocation and reuniting meeting, if you will, for the first event after we started COVID. So for many of you that haven't seen each other, be polite. Some of us are feral now or semi-feral, and we may not be returned to society easily. So be gentle to your neighbor that you may not have seen in a while because you may not recognize your neighbor.
Bruce, at Sharp Spectrum, are we going to be in the same room?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not
So
on
we'll
the,
start.
okay.
Yeah, we'll start in the same location that we've been in before. That's the, I guess they consider that to be their main auditorium in that building. However, following that meeting next month after September, we may be in a different location. It looks like they booked the room for CPR related classes throughout the rest of the year, but I have been assured that they have at least 2 other rooms with movable tables that is at least equal in size. So we will still be able to go out and maintain a presence on that campus. And barring that, I've got my backup in the back pocket for Scripps Health to be able to go out and fall back there periodically as well. So in case we run into any roadblocks, we do have an alternate location put back in place. All of these things, as mentioned, sadly and positively both throughout the last couple of years, are based on where we are at with COVID related requirements for having meetings, having the meetings established, having these groups get together. And at this point, as I hoped, we were in a lull, even though they're talking about COVID is back on the rise again in San Diego and Southern California. Even though those rumblings are happening, the health cares are still allowing meetings to occur and group sessions to occur. So while we're doing this, we've got time, we've got room. This will always be at the mercy of whatever the current requirements and state as well as local and hospital permissions are. Any questions about any of those items?
Bruce,
Miramar.
there's one hand up there for Bob and 6 RLG.
Bob, go ahead. If you didn't unmute Bob, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. Do you suppose it would be helpful concerning the air show if you or Rob or whichever appropriate leadership member and a couple of us that are former Marines meet physically, face to face with the folks at Miramar, and maybe we can hash out whatever the issues are?
No, sir, not at this time,
Okay.
but I appreciate the thought and the offer. Any other questions? Miramar, November drill, and the reuniting in September. So along with reuniting comes great responsibility. We're going to need to have somebody back in the wagon to bring coffee and to bring donuts. And the regular operation that we left it with before we broke up was that we would have somebody go to a place that they really think had great donuts, bring a receipt to the bring a receipt with them for what they had purchased, and we will reimburse out of the donation can for both coffee and for donuts. So we'll need volunteers for both of those. It could be one person, it could be 2 people, however we want to break it up. We got a month to figure it out. But
Bruce, I'll coordinate that, and if anybody's interested, please email me, and we'll get something set up so we don't end up with 1,000 donuts. Just a usual amount and a good amount of coffee also. So we'll work that out. Perfect. And then there's reimbursement that everybody puts $1 in the can, and then the ARES treasurer divvies the money out per receipts to reimburse people.
Excellent.
Comment?
There was a comment. Go ahead. I heard comment, and I'm hearing not anything else after that. Okay, so next month it'll be a busy day, to be sure. I wasn't expecting Rob to go out and do communicator gateway afterwards. I think we'll wait on that if that sounds appropriate. I didn't want to go ahead and have a double header on the first meeting back. But let's talk about that for the month of perhaps October, if that makes sense. That'll give
That does
people-
make sense. People will want to socialize, and so we'll do
That's
no
what I thought.
communicator gateway after September 9th. But because we're also doing it on at activity days, and that works out.
Exactly. So that's going to be a big day. We have the room until approximately noon, 1 o'clock. So we do have some time to decompress after the meeting. But as always, we'll want to make sure that we are returning the facilities to their original state when we walked in the door. That's always one of our requirements. Make sure we police the room, make sure everything's put back the way it was. Everything from the donuts and coffee has been cleaned up. The garbage cans are not overflowing, that kind of thing. We want to make sure we're leaving it as gracious recipients of that, space. So other than that, we have a contest that starts that day. That'll be the beginning of the September ARRL VHF contest that same morning at 11 o'clock. So some of you will be departing for that. And other than that, we don't really have a radio store to go to anymore. So you won't be leaving for donuts to get your second donut of the day after you leave the meeting. That doesn't exist anymore. So you'll have plenty of time to socialize afterwards, and everybody's welcome. I don't have anything else for the group. Unless there's any questions for me, we'll go back to the new intro that was up on the wall, which is Jim Larson. Do you want to wave a hand and say hello, Jim?
Yep, hello. I'm out there and just started getting involved again. Probably got my license a couple of years ago, but you just get involved in life, and never got around to getting involved in ham as much as I did. And then I volunteered at the Cuyamaca 50K, and then was at the refresher last week. So just looking organization to get involved, and I saw the Zoom meeting Rob was so gracious to send out, so here I am.
Very good. Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. If there aren't any other questions or any other items to discuss based on our introductions, we'll go ahead and kick it over to our presenter for the day.
I have a comment, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
How are you? Forgive me if I'm showing up in two places. I had some problems logging in today. That might be an issue for others. The Mac app was giving an error. I had to uninstall and reinstall. So if that happens to anybody, it's the 10,004 error. That solved the problem. Thanks.
Thanks, JD.
Thank
A lot
you.
of people had errors.
All right. If we're ready, let's go ahead and get Bill online.
Right, I attempted to share a screen, and right now I don't have the privileges. So if I can be granted the privileges to do that, we'll proceed.